Howdy, folks! Happy Thursday. Sorry for the late cancellation yesterday, but we had logistical issues, so we couldn't get the show going. There's a few things today, and we'll start off with the pre-show. Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, first off, NBA 2K got called out yesterday by Kevin Durant. He didn't like the fact that he got a 96 rating when other guys were rated like 99, like LeBron. And a few others. Shaquille O'Neal's the only one who's ever gotten 100. But he's right in the same group with Giannis and Steph Curry. They're all 96s too. So and I'm just thinking, doesn't he have anything better to do?
Yes.
Than to do that, to worry about that? Yep. I mean, there's a guy that does the rankings, and then there's always somebody that overlooks the rankings and maybe changes a few things. But if you think whining about it on social media is going to get your ranking changed, it's not.
Well, it's funny because, I'm old, so I associate this with things that I did when I was younger, which was play Stratomatic baseball, Stratomatic hockey. I just can't imagine if Twitter was around in 1979 that Marcel Dion would complain on social media that he was a one on defense. You know what it is? It's the fact that these guys, and we'll mention the NHL announcement a little bit later. Well, no, we can talk about it now, I guess, because we're not going to go too far afield into it. But these guys play these games. They've played them since they were kids. So their ratings, it's sort of like a cachet. It's sort of like cred. It's like, okay, well, I got a 96, so I'm better than all you guys. And the announcement came out today. The NHL 22 is coming out at the beginning of the regular season. Austin Matthews is on the cover for the second time in 3 years. And in reading the article about, and I don't, I love these video games, but I don't really have the time anymore to play them. So, and a kid.
I play less than I used to.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. The graphics are fantastic. All the things that they do are great, but I just don't have the time to play them anymore. And, at a certain point when you get older, you're not as good as when you're getting destroyed by some 11-year-old. I mean,
which is going to happen.
Which is going to happen because that's all they have to do is play the damn game. But like Austin Matthews is on the cover, and apparently they put a new thing into the NHL 22 where like superstar players get a sort of higher level, like they're in a zone where they can pass better, or Vasilevsky can contort himself, or all these things, for great players. And I get that, but okay, this is where art does not imitate life. If that's the case, then where was that superstar rating in games 5, 6, and 7 in the first round against Montreal?
It's fair.
You can turn that on like you can in the video game. Where the F was it? And it wasn't there. Now, Matthews was interviewed by Greg Wyshynski, and he talked about how, it was frustrating and how they lost to Montreal. I get that. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't trying. I'm just saying, it's the real game is not a video game. You cannot all of a sudden go into that zone. It's different. And so Kevin Durant, get over yourself.
But look, NBA Jam did it back in the day where a guy was in the zone. So I think really that's where they sort of borrowed the idea from.
Sure.
Like, remember, it would be like, he's on fire, and all that. And so I think that's where they got it from. All right, let's talk about something that I kind of did on a whim yesterday. I ranked the top 5 Batman movies from 66 to the present. I got a really great response on Twitter and on Sportsology on our entertainment section. So, hey, thanks for that. Here's why I did it. I saw that Robert Pattinson is getting paid $3 million, and I'm thinking, wow, that is really low.
Oh, Robert Pattinson.
Sorry. And $3 million. Now, Val Kilmer made $3 million back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Keaton back in the 80s made 10.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking $3 million, like they really got him on the cheap. I don't know what to expect from this movie now.
Well, I neither do I. And the thing is, it's funny because a couple days ago I watched. It's a really excellent documentary on Val Kilmer that he did a lot of his own like filming document. Like he had a video camera and like
I haven't watched that yet.
It's pretty good, but it gave a little insight into the Batman thing, and it's like, okay, it was successful, but he hated, and the reason he did not go back for another one is because he hated being in the suit. He couldn't barely move. He was suffocated. And it was
apparently Jim Carrey was a big pain in the ass on set.
But yeah, that's par for the
no, but I mean, again, if you're the star of the movie Batman, and now you gotta, worry about what Jim Carrey's up to, that kind of takes the joy out of it too, I'm sure.
Yeah, but going back to your poll or your ratings
of
the top 5. So
I'm going to start from 5 to 1. We'll go my 5, then your 5.
Okay.
So for my 5, I put the Lego Batman movie because I got to tell you, so many people told me to see that, and I was just like, when I get to it. One rainy day, we decided to watch it, and Will Arnett was fantastic in that. And really, the stop motion stuff in that is just incredible. Like the fact that it was all Legos and everything else, it really is a thing to see. So I made that number 5.
My number 5 is Batman Returns, the second Keaton one.
Right.
Michelle Pfeiffer was unbelievable as Catwoman.
The best Catwoman really ever.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought Anne Hathaway was pretty damn good as
she was good, but this
Michelle Pfeiffer was fantastic. She, when she was acting crazy, she was really acting crazy. And
listen, I told you about her in my hotel. She did that in real life too.
Yeah, she's a really good actress. Danny DeVito was really good as the Penguin. I loved Walken as Max Schreck.
Yeah, I thought Walken and Pfeiffer were the two big things in that, besides Keaton.
Right.
And that's my number 4. So what's your number 4?
My number 4, let's see. My number 4 would be Batman Begins.
Okay.
The first Christian Bale. I mean, it took a little time to sort of get going.
A little slow, yeah.
A little slow, but it was great. It was great in the middle and the end. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Katie Holmes as the love interest. I don't think she's a very good actress, but Liam Neeson was fantastic in it.
He was good.
The movie overall is great, and it was because that, to me, that series was the best. I mean, I love Keaton as Batman, but and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not including any of the Ben Affleck Batmans. Sorry,
no Ben Affleck, no Clooney's made my list. Clooney turned this. He has a head tilt. You can't have a head tilt as Batman,
right? And he had nipples on his.
The whole thing was a disaster. All right. My number 3 was The Dark Knight Rises. Again, I'm going to get past all the voice issue stuff. Was it weird? Sure. All of it was. And same with Bane. But, the thing about it is the psychological trip that Tom Hardy took you on as Bane was amazing. And that's why that movie really held up.
I'm going to surprise some people. My number 3 is the first Keaton Batman. I love the movie.
One more thing to add about I enjoyed watching. I guess it was Three Rivers. Was it Three Rivers still at the time? Or was it the new one? Heinz Field. That was Heinz Field. Yeah. I enjoyed Heinz Field getting destroyed. Anyhow,
it's great. I love that movie, but I'm putting in the context of it's dated now and the over the topness of Nicholson. I love Nicholson, but I thought he was a little over the top. The Prince soundtrack has not aged well, but Keaton was great. I love the movie, but to me, it pales in comparison to the Christopher Nolan Batmans, which are in my top 2. So we'll call it that.
So my number 2 is The Dark Knight, the first one.
Yeah.
Now here's the little backstory. I had no interest in seeing it. Zero. I heard about it. That's all I knew. I was at the movies. I don't know what I was seeing, and I saw the trailer. And that was with Heath Ledger, and I was like, who is this Joker? This is unbelievable. Yeah. And that drew me into seeing the movie, and that movie was great because of him. Yeah.
Number two for me is The Dark Knight. Again, I think it suffers a little bit from the fact that it got sort of beaten into the ground by being so popular.
Sure.
I saw it so many times, but Ledger as the Joker was fantastic. Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent was great.
Yeah, he's great.
Maggie Gyllenhaal as the love interest, replacing Katie Holmes, much better actress, very, very good. And Bale and Kane and Freeman. I mean, there's not there's almost not a note wrong in that movie. The only thing is, and I'm a monster Gary Oldman fan, and he was great.
He's good in everything.
He's good in everything. Yeah.
All right. My number one is the original Batman, and I'll tell you why. I mean, yes, we all love Jack Nicholson, no question. Yeah. But it's really not that. When I heard that Michael Keaton was doing it, I was like, really? Like, I love Johnny Dangerously. Mr. Mom, Night Shift. Mr. Mom was cute. But I'm thinking, how is this guy going to pull it off? He's the least physical guy on earth looking at him. But you know what? The facial expressions and everything else, to me, made him the best Batman because he was the most dramatic. He actually knew how to hold the screen with just the Batman looks. And with the acting in the movie and everything else, that first one was tremendous. I mean, I went out and I bought the VHS at the time, watched it a bunch of times. Like, it was just, it got me back into Batman where I had fallen out of it.
Well, I knew Keaton could pull it off because he did a movie a year before Batman called Clean and Sober, which I thought he should have been nominated for an Oscar for. He was phenomenal in that movie. And I'm like, okay, if he can pull this off as a recovering alcohol and drug addict, if he can pull that off, he can pull off Batman. And he did. Now, my number one is The Dark Knight Rises. And the reason I put it over The Dark Knight is because this movie was unfairly knocked down by the tragedy of the killing in the movie theater.
Yeah.
I thought it was, whenever there's a trilogy, if the trilogy is great, the last movie is the best of the trilogy. And to me, the last 25 minutes of The Dark Knight Rises, from the point where Gary Oldman walks out onto the Hudson River, the frozen Hudson River, and lights the Batman burning on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Whole segment from there to Oldman reading the passage. I think it was A Tale of Two Cities at Bruce Wayne's grave, yes. And the whole thing going to the end it's incredible. It's chilling. I almost cry at the end of it because it was so emotional. Because it was so really. It was. Yeah,
I thought I saw Cordell Stewart in there, but I didn't. I thought I did.
He jumped over that 40-yard gap at Heinz. But no, you can rip The Dark Knight. I saw somebody in the chat. You can rip The Dark Knight because you can barely understand Bale with the gruff voice, or you can do the same thing for Tom Hardy as Bane. Yes, it's better to watch that movie at home with subtitles because at the theater you're hearing, but it's still great. And yeah. I thought that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, Michael Caine was great.
Caine was great.
And everything. He's always great. He was always great.
Joseph Gordon. And then there's the other thing. At the very end, the cop, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he says, you should use your real name. And they reveal he's Robin.
Right.
So they're never going to do another movie. Nolan's never going to do another movie, but it's a nod to, okay, he's going to take over from Batman. So that it sort of wrapped it up. And
yeah, it was good. No, I enjoyed that. I do want to give an homage also. My honorable mention was to the 66 Batman movie. Now, I didn't see it in 66, but I saw it. I want to say they ran it on television when Batman started to get very popular again when I was a kid.
Yeah, with Lee Merriweather as Catwoman, and yes,
it had a great cast. It really did. But they did the right thing by having every villain on there because all the villains in Batman were tremendous back then. Cesar Romero, all of them.
Frank Gorshin as the Riddler.
Burgess Meredith was just. He was better than Danny DeVito. Still.
Victor Buono as Mr. Freeze.
Just some great acting. But the funniest part of that movie, and I think he was in a helicopter. Batman's in a helicopter, and like a shark catches on to get him on the ladder from the helicopter because he was getting off a boat. And he goes to the utility belt, and he has bat shark repellent. And that just cracked me up. It was so far-fetched.
The bad video of them climbing up the building, and then they bump into somebody famous. Hi, so and so.
But that was a big deal. Like they did that.
I know.
because they realized they could get cameos from great actors that were a little bit past it, who wanted to impress their grandkids. And that's what they were doing.
And the funny thing is, the weak link in those movies is Batman and Robin himself, because Burt Ward and Adam West are terrible actors. Now, but everybody else.
I don't want to say they're terrible, because in a way, like, it's hard for Burt Ward to play such a straight guy with such ridiculous things to say, and I thought he did a good job because of that. Like,
bam, zoom.
No, but he had to say, like, holy whatever, Batman, and some of these jokes fell flat.
Oh God, where's the trigger? Yes. Now you have my permission to die. I mean, they're okay.
And I think was this also did Batman also play the flute and he was hypnotizing a bunch of rats? I'm not sure if that was in the movie or that was just.
No, he's not playing the Pied Piper.
No, he did, but he did do that either in a Batman or in that movie, and I just can't remember. There is a scene where he does do that, and because there were a whole bunch of rats that were like going against the city.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah, and I have to say the worst one was Batman and Robin, the Clooney one.
Oh,
the word was with Chris O'Donnell as Robin and Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl and Schwarzenegger and as Mr. Freeze and oh my God, it was just so bad. It was just, I mean, it was.
I want to say the original Mr. Freeze was Otto Preminger.
No, Mr. Freeze was, I think it was Victor Buono.
And what did Otto Preminger do? Oh, Egghead. He was Egghead.
Yeah.
He was great. That guy was like a Broadway actor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No, he was great. Yeah, that's right. He was Egghead. All right. That's it.
15 minutes of pre-show. There you go. Hello, Hockey World. Today is Thursday, August 19th, 2021.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Michael Agello, and this is the Hockey Buzzcast here on HockeyBuzz.com.
.cod?
No, .com. .com.
It sounded like you said .cod.
No, I was fighting off coughing, so I may have said it was .com. Sorry. Yeah, there's a fish network. It's .cod.
Actually, the guy's right. Whoever played King Tut was fantastic too, and he was another really good actor, but I can't remember his name.
I'm pretty sure Victor Buono played multiple characters.
So that may have been him too, then.
Yeah, let me just see. We'll get to the news. Here we'll
get to hockey. This is Batman.
Victor Buono was King Tut.
Okay, yeah, he was great as King Tut.
Let me see here. He was, let's see here, filmography. Oh, it's not a film, but let's see here. Okay, sorry, this is just great. Okay, television. Here you go, television. He was Batman. He was Professor William McElroy and King Tut. I also thought he was Mr. Freeze, but let's see. Let's see who Mr. Freeze was. Okay, Mr.
He had an accent, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
I think pretty sure he was a famous actor too.
Mr. Freeze, not okay. Not Schwarzenegger. No, was it Otto? It was Otto Preminger? Okay,
I was right. You bastard.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Otto Preminger was the man.
Yeah, yeah. He was a famous director.
Yes, Julie Newmar was great too, Jake. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Of the old Catwomen, Julie Newmar or Lee Merriweather, I think Julie Newmar was better. Yes. Not Eartha Kitt. Sorry,
but Eartha Kitt was pretty good, actually.
Pretty good. And
considering she was really older than the other two when she started, it was kind of a really good part for her.
A little bit of trivia. Sean Young, the actress, wanted to be Catwoman in the worst way, and
yes, she dressed up.
She dressed up as Catwoman for the screen test in a suit so tight that she had to basically put Crisco on her body to slip into it. Yeah, she could barely move. But anyway, okay. Let's start with this. With the secondary buyout window, teams can, and that they get that window because of arbitration. They go to arbitration. Even if they settle, they have a window, I think of 6 or 7 days to buy out another player. And the Detroit Red Wings did so with the buyout of Franz Nielsen, 37-year-old Franz Nielsen. Not much to say about Nielsen himself because, he was really getting to the end of it. I'm looking up what he played last year. I think he played a number of games, but didn't really score much. Let me see here. Franz Nielsen. We're doing this on the fly, folks.
No, I think he had 10, 12 points.
He had 6 points in 29 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, and he was making $5.75 million on I think it was a 7-year deal. That free agent class could be the worst free agent class in history. We're talking Lucic, Louis Eriksson, David Backes, Kyle Laposo, Franz Nielsen, and the former Blackhawk, Andrew Ladd. I mean, this was a terrible free agent class. Terrible.
Oh, I have breaking news. Brian Elliott just tweeted he's going back to number 1, and he put number 1 in your program, number 1 in your heart. That's funny. I got to give him credit for that. That's a good tweet. Mike's not amused, but I am.
No. I'm just Ak is trying to get into the show, and he's not having any good luck. Was Bolesky? I don't think Bolesky was that year, was he?
He could have been, and that
but he wasn't. Okay, he wasn't as long. I mean, remember, all these contracts were 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, Bolesky was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, all of them were like heavily laden with signing bonuses, which made them unbuyoutable.
Bolesky ended up in Hartford with Wayne Redden after a while.
Oh God! But
he was playing in Hartford for sure.
But look, here's what Yzerman is smart here, and Kevin has said this. Yzerman is looking to open spots for young players, and if Nielsen stays around, he's on his books. He's on his books for another year at 5.5 and a quarter, I think it was. But by buying him out, he's still taking a cap hit of 4 and a quarter this year, 500,000 next year, but he opens up a roster spot for one of those young guys. And Russ, that's what's important here is they're looking to play young players and get them opportunity.
I mean, that could give Lucas Raymond a spot. Redden was gone, but Bolesky did play in Hartford for a couple of years to end his days in the NHL.
Right.
Yeah, so that we had the buyout of Nielsen. So
Yep. Start.
I just mentioned the tweet of Brian Elliott. He's now number 1 again. So he had a funny tweet about that. So
that's cool. Cool. Yeah. No, it's no, that's great. That's sorry for being late, running around crazy stuff here today. And yeah, it should be okay. I'm hoping. We're gonna go minute by minute here. I'm okay though. Let's should we actually was that a pre-show thing or you guys already?
No, we already started.
Okay, good. All right, yeah. So did we talk yet about Owen Powers?
No, not yet.
Okay, yeah, let's go there. We talked Owen Powers. Sorry, Owen Power, right? Power.
Yeah.
We talked about the possibility of this happening. This is probably the right thing to do, right, Russ? I mean, this is the right.
Yeah. It's definitely the right thing to do. I don't think any of us doubted it. We kind of knew it was happening. It's just now it's been confirmed, and the 1 and the 2 are, both going to the same team, so they're both going back to college. That's an unusual thing in the cap era, but it's the best thing for both guys.
But look at this team, and I think the motivation for Power to go back to Michigan is not only Beniers, but Luke Hughes, but Brendan Brisson,
Johnson.
Johnson. I mean, this is an absolutely loaded team. So he gets the benefit of a full year at the NCAA level, and because the season is, I'm pretty sure that the regular season, because of the Olympic break, or maybe not Olympic break, is ending more towards the end of April than it is like the middle of April.
Yeah, it's going a little bit longer. They're starting a little bit late. Like a week later than they usually do too.
Yeah, they're starting on October 15th. But what that means is, with the college season being when it normally is, and they have the Frozen Four, he could, if he gets to the final, plays it, wins a national title, he could sign with the Sabres at the end of March or early April and play a month in the NHL and burn the first year of his DLC, which I think
he'll do.
Which he'll probably do, because that gets him closer to restricted free agency and closer to getting a payday. So I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't suck to go back to Michigan to play with those guys, and
And he can get ad revenue. He could do some autograph signings.
Right, he can do all kinds of things.
You're the first overall pick. Like, he could cash in on that campus with as big a name as Michigan has too.
Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine just like, like, well, I mean, just it's like kind of like being like the star quarterback on campus. I mean, it's college too. I mean, don't forget, this kid's a sophomore in college. Like, it's like, I'm taking my daughter to college tomorrow, so it's like, it's a big deal. And it's something. I mean, granted, this guy has his future already sort of lined up for him, but it's a big deal to go and be a star player on the campus and stuff like that, and walk around and take your courses and all that kind of stuff. He's gonna have some fun for sure, and it reminds me of that like Michigan college basketball team from years ago, right? Remember that super?
Yeah.
That's what this thing reminds me of. It's just crazy. We should definitely have Kevin Allen, who lives right around the corner from University of Michigan. He's got to cover some games for us next year and go out there.
He can be our college correspondent.
He really should, because I mean he should definitely get in there. I mean that's some serious star power.
I mean, I'll cover the regionals and stuff when they're in it. I'm sure they'll make that. So that's when I'll cover them. Anthony Kennard he knows Owen Power's stick to the flex and everything. Like, he actually hasn't posted that. That's crazy.
Anthony, I love you, but get a life.
That is crazy.
Hey, that big man. That's.
But the other thing is this. The other thing is Owen Power, by going back to Michigan, avoids having to play with an absolute train wreck of a team with the Sabres. Now what's going you notice what they did. What they did was, I mean, the Aaron Dell, Craig Anderson thing, okay, that's going to buy time until Luukkonen gets like a half a year at the AHL level, and they'll play him. But all the hole plugs, John Hayden, Vinny Hinostroza, all these players. I mean, these players, what they're providing support structure, but really the young guys, the middle stats, the Cousins, the Ruotsalainens, the Victor Olofssons, they're going to be the ones to play a lot of minutes. They're going to get premium time, and I don't expect Jack Eichel to be there. Either he's going to be on IR or he's going to be traded. I mean, this is going to be a disaster team, probably in the bottom 5 of the NHL standings. And Power comes in at the end of the year and gets 10 games at the NHL, and that's good.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are going to be battling for the worst position. I mean, we've got like 2 or 3 teams that are definitely going to be battling. So it's hard to sit there and say that they're going to be
Arizona, San Jose, Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely your starting point for sure. But Detroit, it's going to be tough to say. I mean, how good they're going to be. I think they're going to be better, but
I think they'll be better than the Sabres. I think they'll
be better, and depending on which guys they put in their lineup, like Sider makes them better for sure. That definitely helps them shore up their defense. Zadina's been getting better every year. So if Raymond starts the year in the AHL but only plays, like Kevin told me, he thinks he'll play like 20 games and then get called up, that's another boost for them.
Yeah. Sider will play in the NHL probably.
Yeah, for one of these days, we're going to have to do. I have a blog coming out next week about the 4 teams that I think will be the story of the year. And there's definitely some interesting possibilities here. Right? Teams are going to be different, but we'll get into that as well. But that's I think the Red Wings could be one of them if they really. But they could go either way. Like they could definitely be still too far away. They kind of remind me of Ottawa a couple years ago. Like where
I think they're still too far away.
Ottawa's everyone keeps saying Ottawa's going to get better, but Ottawa's getting better. But it's like at a certain pace, that you can't get better at than that pace. I kind of think that's where Detroit is, because people who have them like battling for a playoff spot this year, I have a tough time with.
No. I think the Wings are better. I think the Sens are better, and I think they're going to challenge for.
Yeah.
They're not going to challenge in the top 5 of the Atlantic. The only team, and I know people would think this is sour grapes. The only team I think that Detroit or Ottawa could potentially catch in that top 5 is Montreal, because I think Montreal, with the loss of Deneau, with the loss of Weber, with the loss of Price for at the beginning of the season, I don't think they're going to be. I think that they're not going to be in the top 4 in that division. No way.
Did you guys over the course of the weekend talk about the Alex Nylander signing, which I thought was was cool. I don't know if you guys talked about that.
No, not really, because I didn't think it was that consequential.
I think it's interesting. I mean, there's always a couple of these signings.
I just want to say one thing before you do that. Still, the problem with Ottawa is, and this was supposed to be the year, they haven't signed one really great or really good veteran to put with all these kids.
Yeah.
They just have.
There's a new thing that's been going around, and to stay along that line for a second. Talking to GMs, there is definitely an anti-UFA, anti-RFA thing. Not anti-RFA, anti-UFA thing. Basically looking at Tampa, because it's a copycat league. Tampa's won 2 years in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa, when you look at their team, is based virtually before this year, maybe, or even other years. Like even the winning 2 Stanley Cup teams were built without free agents, like completely without free agents, essentially. Like there's no real free agents on Tampa.
Yeah, but Tampa has the advantage of being the preeminent teams in terms of development. So they're able to go out and use the kids that they develop to trade for players like Blake Coleman, like Barclay Goodrow.
Yeah.
No, there aren't many other teams that can say, okay, we're going to trade 2 prospects and a first-round pick for a guy, because
another reason they do that is because they haven't wasted money on free agents. Like they haven't gone out and signed these crazy deals.
What I'm saying is that they don't have to waste money on free agents because they have an organization that's so deep that they can trade for players instead of signing free agents.
And the free agents come to them if they're older and want to just have a chance to win the cup.
Right, like Zach Bogosian goes back there for $800,000 to be a bottom pairing defenseman.
Yeah, this year they've had a couple free agents, but really those 2 teams, like there were almost none. I mean, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
but they're drafting and developing.
I guess the only one you could say was like Patrick Maroon, like the first year that they won was a free agent.
And that was a $900,000.
Yeah, they're not wasting money. They're not doing any of these they're not getting involved in the big names, right? And I think that's happening now throughout the league. Well, in a feeling like we don't want to get involved in it. It's going to be interesting to see. Like there's always somebody like like obviously
Toronto started that last year. I mean, they brought in Thornton at $750. They re-signed Spezza at $700. It's like if we build it, they will come. If players want to play with Matthews and Marner and Tavares and Nylander, okay, we're going to have to take less to do it. And that's what's going on.
So let's talk about Nylander, the other Nylander. So like I thought that this was a really sneaky good trade, and I am starting to get very bullish is good, right? Starting to get very bullish on Chicago. I'm starting to really feel like there's something happening there. I don't, I just when I look at what they're doing, when I look at how they're putting how they're slotting players, Nylander to me is like the like the 2012 Stahlberg, for the Blackhawks. Like remember him? Remember Victor Stahlberg, obviously a former Leaf.
I remember. Yeah.
But okay, here's the thing. The trade in a way worked out for both teams because Alex Nylander was never going to play well in Buffalo. They soured on him. It didn't work out. People constantly, Russ and I were at that draft at the 8th pick, overall pick. Everybody sort of chuckled at that pick because everybody was saying Sergachev was going to be the pick or McAvoy or all these guys, and they took Alex Nylander, which really didn't need. So they make the trade. Joka Haru is a defenseman who I think will be part of the future in Buffalo.
Yep.
Nylander had a good first year in Chicago. Was pretty good in the bubble when they went to the playoffs and beat Edmonton. Yeah. But then last year cooked his knee and he was out for for the entire season. Right. Took the qualifying offer because this is a prove it year for him. If he has
a prove it year for him, I agree. It's a qualifying offer, but obviously the Nylander, there's Nylander history there too, right? In Chicago, right? His
dad played there for a while.
His dad played there, but I really think that Borgstrom, they got Borgstrom there too in Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking at I really some Tyler Johnson, add these players that they've added a serious couple middle 6 players there that are going to be, to me, I just think that when you add that to Seth Jones, when you I think losing Duncan Keith is a good thing for them. They're definitely a lookout for type team. I mean, they're in the same boat that interesting enough, like Florida's in the same boat as them in some ways, because Florida, even though they're getting they really have done a lot of great things and are getting way better, they still have Tampa to look at, right? And then Chicago still has to get through Colorado. Well, that's the issue. Like if you're going to go past 2 rounds, you got to get past one of those teams.
Russ, I'm bullish on Chicago, but I mean, I think it all rests on Taves being able to come back and be close to the Taves that we saw a couple of years ago. I mean, if he can't, I think that, then all of a sudden all of your centers have to move up one slot. And I don't think Kirby Dach is ready to be a number one center.
No, not yet. I mean,
but he's a good number two.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If Fleury and Taves are healthy, they could make the playoffs.
Oh, they're a playoff team.
They're not going to make. Listen, I'm not putting them in the playoffs because their defense still isn't great.
Your defense.
No, but they got better. I mean, obviously they improved.
I'm not counting on Alex Nylander for anything. He had 0 points in 8 playoff games and was a -4. This kid still does not play a full 60 minutes. If you think about him signing a 1-year deal, that is just tells you exactly.
Oh, I know.
They think of him.
I was thinking of Kubalik as the one.
He will have some good shifts. He will have some flashes. He is not anything like you would want him to be, and they're going to probably have to put him on the third line. He's really not a third line.
And he's not a third line guy. He could be a good complementary winger in the top 6, but I don't know whether they can risk him defensively playing in the top 6.
Right.
So, but
they don't necessarily need him to play in the top 6. I mean, they have a top.
And he's not effective playing in a bottom 6 role.
It's not. I mean, listen, you're in all likelihood.
I'm way higher on Borgstrom. I think Borgstrom.
Me too. I'm higher on
better
Borgstrom
than him.
I just think both of them are the kind of picks, the kind of signings that right now, that every year one of these type of things works out really well for somebody. And these, to me, I see this as one of those possibilities. I see, obviously Marc-Andre Fleury is just a workhorse. I mean, there's no way they're not a playoff team. Russ, name me 3 other teams that are better than them in that.
You know what? I want to see players healthy and actually playing. I want to see. I'm not going on reputations on this. I'm not.
But they still have Patrick Kane. I mean, they still have Patrick Kane is still a superstar, right? No matter what, he had a great year last year. They still have some really strong players.
I think they're a wild card team in that division. Colorado's better.
Colorado will give it. Winnipeg
is better.
They're better.
Winnipeg is better. And I think they're fighting with St. Louis and Minnesota.
You hate Winnipeg. You can just come out and say it. I mean,
he thinks Connor Hellebuyck stinks.
We'll get to that later. But yeah, I'm not. I'm talk about that one for sure.
In terms of Chicago, in terms of a bottom 6 guy, I like the Jujhar Khaira signing.
Yeah,
it's under $1 million. Kurashev is a good young player. So
look at the pairings.
But their defense blows. I mean, I love Seth Jones. DeHaan has not been able to stay healthy the last 3 years. McCabe is coming off an ACL injury. If he's healthy, he's good. Connor Murphy is terrible. I mean,
Lee Jones is okay, and Kaliniuk is an offensive defenseman who's okay. This is not a good defense.
Yeah, they need Ian Mitchell to step up, and I think. And I think they probably need another defenseman, which they don't have yet.
Yeah, Ian Mitchell will step into probably one of those spots at some point. But the idea is you're going to have to play Seth Jones 27 minutes a game, and hope Fleury is on top of his game for every game.
Okay,
and pray that Calvin DeHaan stays healthy, which the last 3 years never has.
True.
And we don't know what McCabe is at this point. That's fair.
No, what are they going to pair the Jones brothers together? Or are they going to put Caleb with Seth?
No, they'll put DeHaan with them or something.
Yeah, that's what I would guess. But DeHaan really coming out.
When he plays, he could play.
These are some good. I mean, they really have some interesting players, just up and down the lineup. An interesting team. They are.
I could give you 6 question marks there.
Oh yeah, no, they're full of question marks, but they have a lot of maybes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have enough maybes, it becomes a probably. That's my theory at least. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they have so many maybes and so many interesting players, and they also still have a few players left from that, from those cup teams that are just that are absolutely. That is still there. Knowing how to win type thing.
Well,
it's still there.
If Russ is right, we probably will see Marian Hossa signed to a 1-year contract because he believes that skin disease was a fake.
How about this? How about this to be a place for Chara to end up? This is an interesting place for Chara to end up in my mind. That.
It would be, but Chara's not talking. I don't think Chara wants to go there. I don't think he wants to be far away from Boston.
There's 7 teams that would make sense for Chara.
Yeah. I want to know what Anthony Kennard knows about how he knows what players are wearing.
Probably a stick distributor act.
I wouldn't know. I'm impressed by one of our guys in the chat is just saying he put it this day. I'm just like, this is kind of crazy stuff. Like this Anthony, how you have to know something to know this. I mean, what is this? I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. Put it that way. Anyway, Anthony, maybe you should email me and see if we can have you do some kind of
equipment blog.
Blog.
So actually,
I think that'd be really interesting. I don't think I don't think that exists out there anywhere.
No, I don't think it does. Andy Strickland reported 23 hours ago that Chara, if he's going to play, it's going to be on the East Coast, close to his family. So
I would guess that,
Chicago is not going to be in the cards for him.
I would guess that. I kind of have a feeling about the Islanders with him. I really do. That's my gut.
Islanders, Rangers, Bruins, Capitals, Penguins, Leafs.
I think he's going to go someplace where he thinks he has a real chance to win, though. I think that's why I think the Islanders are one of the are kind of maybe leading the way. Bruins are obvious. I think with the Bruins, there's a little bit of a burnt bridge there. Not a big one. Not on Chara.
Oh no, he does not want to play there.
Yeah, I think they burned the bridge with him. I think that they let him. They basically gave up on him way too soon in his mind.
Listen, I think if they did things right, Krejci and Chara would still be there.
Right.
Yeah. They absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And they really screwed up with Krejci. So, no question about that. Even though I gave my counterpoint on Krejci, I sometimes just
No, but at the end of the day, they still don't have anybody really to replace him.
Yeah,
regardless of what you think of him, they don't have anybody to replace him.
Charlie Coyle as your number 2 center. That'll work.
All right, so let's talk prospects a little bit today. We have Calgary on the docket, right?
Yeah. So we'll go with Jacob Pelletier. So he's going to be a winger in the NHL. When he got drafted, he was 161 pounds.
Wow.
And that was part of the reason why teams didn't want to take a chance on him. And he also wasn't great defensively. He has built himself up to about 175 pounds now. He's stronger. We saw him in the World Juniors. He's quick to pucks. He is a good skater. He's not super fast, but he's good. He's slick. He's got a great shot. And he's got great stick and puck control. I feel like he is maybe the guy that gets overlooked the most now in the Calgary spotlight. I love Emilio Pettersson too, but he's not going to make this list. And Connor Zary, I'll talk about him in a minute, but Pelletier, I think, is the guy that really gets overlooked here because he's probably not like that sexy pick, maybe because he plays in the queue and he puts up 2 points a game like he almost did last year, that people are going to poke holes in that. But at the end of the day, he was a point a game for Team Canada, and this kid can play.
Really not bad.
So the other one, I'm not going to use Connor Zary. And the reason is I really think it's a coin flip between him and Coronado. And since I don't think Connor Zary will play center, I think because they're all wingers, I'm going to give the slight future edge to Coronado. Connor Zary is an excellent player. Don't get me wrong. It's not I can only talk about 2 here. So I'm going to talk about Coronado because this is a kid where I wrote about him, I don't even know when. It was way before the draft. I would say 2-3 months.
It was like November.
May have been like November. It was really early in the hockey season, and I said he was going to shoot up the charts. I remember talking to people about him, how he was leading the USA total in scoring, and people had no interest in him. I mean prospect people, had no time for him.
Yeah.
And as the season went on, he kept getting better and better. He got a chance to show off a little bit in the All-American Prospects game, even though his team stunk. He was really good. He didn't score a goal or anything, but he was really good. The thing about this guy is he's got a tremendous work ethic. He's got speed. He's quick on the wing. So he basically, I don't think he's just a one-shot guy like Jeff Carter was when he first came up and then had to sort of transform his game, which he did. I think he's a little bit more than that, but I do think he has to work on his defense. I think he's smart. I've seen playmaking in him, even though I feel like he's probably more of a goal scorer. And he can play either side. He actually could play the left as easy as the right. And I do think that gives him an edge over Zary because that may get him plugged into a lineup, not quicker because Zary's going to get all the press. Zary is a big draft pick for them and everything else. But I do feel like someday that little bit with Coronado, that he can play either side, that he's got this work ethic, is going to take him a long way. He's got a lot of talent. And I think he's going to Harvard this year. So, again, he's going to kind of get lost in Harvard a little bit. And, I think, and that's why everybody will keep talking Zary. Maybe they'll talk Peltier, but don't lose sight of Coronado, because I do think he's going to be a tremendous player.
I've heard some people that are absolutely agreeing with you, Russ. Like I've heard, I'm not a prospect.
22nd. To be fair, I ranked him 22nd because when I was crunching everything, I probably could have had him a few spots higher. I really like the kid. He's from Long Island, but I didn't want to show bias.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, even 22, as early as I put him in that spot, was way earlier than most people were willing to do.
Way earlier than most people. But after, for some reason, after he was picked, so like because he went a little, because people just started to be like, the people started liking him. It's the kind of thing. It's strange. And then I know you were always on the board, but after he was picked, I started hearing like great things about him. So
analysis.
Yeah, let's go to some goalies. Today we're going to talk about the goalies, the possible goalies for the Olympics. One of my favorite things in the world to talk about is goalies. So I'm really psyched about this. And of course I will be controversial in this because I see different things than everybody else sees with goalies, and I'm always right. So that's why I'm sure I will be the tough one. But let's start. Let's see, what team should we start with here?
Start with Sweden.
Let's start with Sweden. All right, good old Sweden.
Now, Sweden in their preliminary Olympic camp invited only 2 goalies, Leonard and Ullmark. I think Markstrom would be
pretty shocking. Pretty shocking they didn't invite him, honestly.
That is kind of shocking.
Now, again, this could be injury related because they didn't invite Erik Karlsson. They didn't invite William Nylander. And I don't know whether that's a statement of those players not being in the mix, but I would think that Markstrom and Leonard and Ullmark would be the 3 goalies for Sweden.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that. I have a question for you guys on something here interesting. So, how many Swedish goalies right now are active in the NHL?
I'm going to go with 4.
4. Okay.
7.
Yeah, because some of these are like, we're talking. There's a couple. There's 2 guys on this. There's actually 4 guys on this list that played less than 50 games. There's only.
I know the Sabres had 2 of them last year, Jonas Johansson and Ullmark.
How many Swedish goalies in the NHL right now have played more than 50 games?
2.
In their career?
No, 3.
In their career.
3. Yeah, I'm going to go 3.
3, you're right. And that's actually 4. Anton Forsberg has played 56 games.
Forsberg made it under the wire.
But there's only, this is a low time in history. Isn't this a low time in history for Swedish goalies?
He doesn't count because goaltender is supposed to stop the puck, and Anton Forsberg doesn't. But.
It is at the moment, but then, I think Jesper Wallstedt is going to change that, and I think they'll be back on the upswing, and Kalle Klang is another one that's going to change that.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's cyclical. It's cyclical.
It is cyclical for sure. What Swedish goalie has played the most games in the NHL?
Markstrom.
No, I'm going to go with what's his name, the Islander goalie.
Are you talking about active goalies or
active goalies?
Markstrom. Active. Yeah, Markstrom.
Active. Nope. Actually, Robin Leonard.
Leonard. Okay.
Leonard's played 320. Markstrom's played 315. So you're not. It's close. Okay. In that save percentage, save percentage. Who do you think is a better save percentage between those 2? It's interesting.
Leonard.
Yeah, I'll go Leonard.
Leonard 918. Markstrom a career save percentage of 910.
Well,
Ullmark is the 3rd with 117 games. This is crazy. That's you're really looking at like a real, like you said, this is a cyclical downturn of this is the downside. To have only 3 Swedish goalies that have played more than more than 82 games in their career. I can't remember the time.
I think the difference that's more stark is the Finns, because the Finns were so strong in goal.
Right, we'll get to them in a second, but let's as far as these 3 go.
I think this is normal. I'm looking up the 3 all time, and it's Lundqvist, Salo is who I couldn't think of, and Hedberg. And if you think about it like that, they had their great ones, and then you get Leonard and Markstrom.
No, you're actually right. You're actually right, Russ. That kind of does surprise me.
I don't think
I really would have thought that Pelle Lindbergh has played the 8th most games of a Swedish goalie all time is kind of crazy.
Anders Nielsen is 7th. I don't think their goaltending's been good for a while. Like overall,
I agree.
They've had some stars.
They really have had. They had a star. They had Pelle Lindbergh was a star.
Salo was a star until he gave up that.
Salo was a star. Yeah. So that's a fast. So yeah. So the 3 goalies, I'm not going to be controversial with these guys. I'm going to agree with you, on these 3. on the three. Those are the three goalies: Leonard, Markstrom, and Ullmark. I don't know who. To me, it would be interesting if Ullmark gets the go on this. I wonder.
No, Leonard's going to get the go.
Leonard
probably will.
Leonard,
But Leonard can be hurt a lot. Leonard can be inconsistent. It's. I mean,
well,
the guy.
hurt, obviously, yeah, that's a different story.
I obviously like. I mean, the guy I like a lot. Coming up would be Philip Gustafsson, but he's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
But he'll be interesting to watch. All right, so now let's move on to Finland. Like you said, I mean, these two countries right next to each other, roughly, always battling each other. Fascinating the difference between goalies with these teams.
Yeah, but we know
the Finns are a goalie factory, right?
Right, they were, and that's they used to be,
but now they're down. Mm-hmm.
So no, Rask is injured. Rene's retired.
He's retired, right?
Retired. You're talking about UC Saros, Korpisalo. There's no way they put Mikko Koskinen because he's a sieve.
Well, here's the top three all time are Rene, Lehtinen, and Kiprusoff.
I'm sorry, guys.
For games. This is for games, not necessarily for talent, but those are the top.
Stop it. Sorry, I've got weird sound playing here.
That's fine. And Rask is number 4.
We don't hear it, so
you didn't hear it. Oh, that's good. Okay, good. It's really strange.
Yeah, Vesa Toskala is 7th. Niittymaki is 8th on the finish list. They've had a huge downturn.
Right.
Isn't that crazy? They really have. You're right.
So I mean, right now, I think, and of those three, I don't know who's the star. Are they going to start UC Saros in the Olympics? I mean, Ron Salo and UC Saros. I mean,
I honestly, this is a tough list because, like you say, the crazy thing is, if the guy who's played the most games, Korpisalo, I think he's their starter. I think he's the best Finnish goalie right now.
He
honestly.
could be the starter because I think this is where Saros' height could really be abused because on the bigger ice surface where guys have more freedom of movement, I don't think you're going to want the smaller goalie.
Yeah, and I just go back to what Korpisalo said, how Korpisalo played in the bubble in that one series. You got to look at that as the most pressure situation he's probably been under, right? And he was great against Tampa. Just absolutely great.
But we have to, honestly, when they have these camps, a lot of times it's how they look in camp and the kind of season they're having. That's really what they almost don't even look at the past anymore. Yeah, that's true.
real quick,
I would say so. My three goalies for this one, Korpisalo and Saros are 2 of them, right?
Yeah,
we agree with that.
Yeah, we can go quickly through the checks. I mean,
yeah, well, who's our third goalie?
Wait, I mean, you might as well use the Marlies. Was it Vehalainen or whatever? He could be the third.
Yeah, or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I mean, he's like,
no, but he's too young. They want to bring him.
They want to bring a young guy, sure, but
you want to bring him. I mean, only 2 years younger. Only 2 years younger than Vini.
Yeah, but experience-wise, he's very young.
But probably the most potential, right, Russ, on this list?
Oh yeah.
Down the line.
The Czechs probably go with Mrazek, Rittich, and Vanacek. That's their 3.
Yeah, I mean, look.
There's nobody better than Rittich, really?
Daniel Vladar. Do you want to go with him with 5 NHL games?
I might go with Vladar. I mean, he's had a lot of AHL experience.
There's only 5 goalies in the Czech goalies, right? Yeah. Only 5 goalies in the NHL. They probably have one of their own guys. They probably have a Czech guy over there.
Look, I mean, Czech goalies all time have not been super fantastic.
Who's the Czech goalie that usually plays in the World Champion? Like they probably have somebody playing. They usually bring one of their. They'll bring out one from their Czech league.
I think Carl Lang is retired.
I'm going to give you the biggest bust of all time for Czech goalies, and he's still only 35, and that's Maris Schwartz.
Oh,
and
God.
He was the 17th overall pick in 2004. Let's see how many games he played. He played 0 NHL games.
Well, let's get to the.
Wait, no.
Wait, we will.
4.
I know. We have 15 minutes here, but
he played 6 NHL games. That's it.
Drop off in a couple. So
you have to drop. Okay, Ross. Mike, I'm sorry. Okay, then go ahead, Mike.
That's fine.
Seriously.
Six NHL games.
The controversial one is Russia because there's so many options.
That's true.
This is a crazy thing.
Obviously, I think Vasilevsky is going to be one of the 3, and if he should be the starter.
Yes.
Are you going to go Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, and Sorokin? Are you going to go experience and have Varlamov? I can't see them choosing Bobrovsky because he's just been bad. But
they might though. The way the Russians are, they might.
I mean,
they might go with Varlamov too because I mean the to me this is Vasilevsky's job, right? I also, you wouldn't be the worst thing to have Hudobin in there as your third, possibly because he's got experience.
Vasilevsky is definitely number one. Is it possible that they shun both Shesterkin and Sorokin for leaving, and they go with a KHL guy instead?
Right.
It's possible.
They could go with Askarov. They could go as a third.
They could go Askarov. If he's that improved, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Interesting. I think. I think that I think the Russians are probably going to look at the NHL first half of the NHL season as like a tryout for this.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's a no-brainer, but I do think some of the other guys could get shunned just because they left the program.
Yeah, let's see what happens, right?
But
I think who are your three, Mike? Oh, Mike's on the phone.
Mike is on the phone.
So my three, I think, would be Vasilevsky. I would guess Vasilevsky, Sorokin, and maybe.
I think they're. I think it's going to be Vasilevsky, either Sorokin or Shesterkin, whoever is the better of the two, and Varlamov. They'll go with experience for the
right.
I'm going to go Vasilevsky, whoever's better between the other two, and Askarov. That's what.
All right, there you go. That's interesting. All right, let's go to Canada.
Okay, to me, Canada, the I think because Price was so, if he's healthy, he'll be in there.
He's not that good according to Eck anymore, but he's good enough.
What?
You couldn't say any nice things about Price.
Are you kidding me? Was I not that? What? Who were you listening to? I said he was spectacular in the playoffs.
No. You did not say when we were getting into the Stanley Cup and everything else. When we were getting down to the nitty gritty, you were not very positive about Carey Price. Go back and listen.
That's not true.
I think
not true.
I don't think there's much. I think it's going to be Price. I think it's gonna be probably Binnington as one of the three.
Oh, Binnington.
Yeah, and then probably Marc-Andre Fleury.
Those are the three I think they'll go with.
That's interesting. I think Price.
If they're going to go with a young goalie, Mackenzie Blackwood or Carter Hart, depending on how well they play. But
I think the plan was to go with Carter Hart. I don't think
he's in the.
It is going to be dependent. I think Mackenzie Blackwood could jump over there. How about Chris Drager? Greg, depending on how he plays.
No,
come
on.
Sorry, no.
No, probably not. But I'm just saying, it's not out of the total realm of possibility. I think Binnington is a long shot, though. I do because he's struggled a little bit here.
Now,
U.S.
I mean, like this, two of the three. Sorry, this stupid commercial keeps popping up. Two of the three are I think are
on the same page.
It's Gibson and Hellebuck.
They're no-brainers.
Right. The third one,
unless there's an injury, obviously.
Third one could be. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go experience and go Jonathan Quick because he's passed. I don't think Jack Campbell is. If he.
No, I know who the third one is.
You think it's going to be Cal Peterson?
No, I think it'll be Spencer Knight.
I think it'll be Spencer Knight too.
Yep.
I mean, it could be Campbell.
I don't think so.
I don't think it will.
Campbell has such a history with the U.S. hockey program.
He does, but Spencer Knight will be your guy for the next decade. You've got to get him starting to travel with these guys.
I agree with you. That makes total sense. I guess the only thing left is the Slovaks. Really, we can do with them. They
no,
they only have a lock in the NHL. So
there you go.
There you go.
The Germans have drafted goalies. Hold on.
The Germans obviously have Grubauer and Greiss, right?
Yeah.
So they've got two half decent goalies, Germans. I mean
that's not bad for them. I mean, and they'll probably take
Greiss for all of the knocking we take. 316 games played and 914 save percentage is not terrible. I mean, honestly.
No.
We kill Greiss, but he has been pretty. I mean, he's been pretty good for a while now.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll go Samuel Halavic, who played in the World Juniors. He's a pretty good prospect. He might have a chance to carry that third spot for them.
That third spot, yeah. But Halak is just so. I mean, Halak is very. They love him.
He'll make it.
And he's such a good goalie in this kind of situation too. This is like where Halak shines. He has been always like you saw him when he was his playoff run. Remember even in 2010 when I think they beat the U.S. team or Canada or they beat Russia. That's right. Halak beat Russia in 2010 in the regular tournament.
Yeah, Halavic right now is still undrafted.
Yeah, okay,
He's
yeah.
20, and he's playing for a club team in Bratislava. So I think he's got a shot.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, obviously, if we were to rank the goalie situation, Russ, you got Russia's number one, right?
Yeah, Russia's number one.
Russia's number one. Who's number two?
I think the U.S. is number two.
U.S. is number two. Interesting. Do you think they're better than Canada?
I do.
Huh. I mean, we have so many good young.
I think Canada has too much age.
Yeah.
In net for the Olympics. Now I get it. It's not bigger ice. I get that.
Yeah.
And that's right. I said that about Saros. It's not bigger ice. But
it's not bigger ice now.
But I think they have too much age in that.
Are they better than Finland? So we say is it Russia, US, Canada, like that? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's Russia, USA, Canada.
Yeah.
And then
Sweden. that could determine that. Yeah, in Sweden, that could mean that the goalies could determine who wins this thing. I mean, when you look at it, who's your favorite? I mean, we're way off, but obviously, we'll talk about this more. But
Canada's going to roll so many lines that.
Oh my gosh!
I think the U.S. gets close to them, and I think even Sweden gets close to them. I don't know. I guess Ovechkin will be there, right?
Oh, he'll be there.
So he'll still be effective. I think Russia will have two, maybe three lines, maybe, and then the defense, maybe two pairs that are decent.
Yeah.
But I think Russia's going to be hurting on defense a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I was going through the U.S. team, and they really have some. They may
have the best defense.
They have the best defense. I mean, Werenski, Jones, Slavin, Carlson, Hughes, McAvoy, in my opinion. And then beyond that, you've got Krug and Trubus.
Don't forget McDonough.
McDonough probably. I would probably put McDonough. Maybe I don't know if he gets that. If he breaks into that top six, though, that's pretty tough.
Even if he doesn't, he'll be on the team.
Yeah, maybe over Slavin. I don't know. Maybe over Quinn Hughes. It's tough to say.
It's tough, but they're loaded.
You have to put McDonough on the team. He's got his. In my opinion, he's got to be in your top.
No,
six.
You have to put him on.
He's got to be on your top six because he's got
had
so
a
much
resurgence. There's no.
As long as he continues playing like that. He's.
But look, Canada's got Drew Doughty, but they just.
Yeah.
They have a lot.
Yeah.
I would think Shabbat will be on that team.
Yeah, you gotta think Shabbat will be on the team. I agree. I mean, the U.S. roster. I always thought, the big question mark with that roster when I was going through it is, is their second line center, because is that Eichel?
No, Eichel's not going to be playing.
It won't be Eichel, you would assume, because I mean, with everything that's going on right now,
I think just based on everything that's going on, even if he's able to play, he's not going to be allowed to play.
Ooh, I don't know. You think he's not going to be allowed to play?
Because I don't think there'll be insurance for him.
Yeah, there might not be. I mean, if he's at this point, it looks like there's no way. I was really kind of more happy with in my opinion, they've got to go younger than they want to go.
Yeah.
There's some guys on there that they really got to do. Because my initial thing when I worked out this for a while ago, these are my four American lines. I'm gonna move on, but this is fun to do. But was Tkachuk, Matthews, and Kane as my top line, which I think is a no-brainer, and I think that's a great line. It's a great line, right? My second line was Eichel, Besser, and Gaudreau, which is also solid.
So who's your third line center? Because that'll be your second.
Larkin,
line
Larkin with DeBrincat and Connor. That was my third line.
Fine.
That's solid. And then my fourth line was Miller, JT Miller, with Pacioretty and Getzel.
Right. So what I think could happen is this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I would invite Beniers.
Yeah.
I would. And I would still have JT Miller as the fourth line center because he can play that role.
Right.
And that adds a lot to your team there.
And what if you add Brady? I mean, Brady, Tkachuk, or Pacioretty? That was one of the things I thought about a lot.
I mean, I would go Brady, Tkachuk, but they may go Pacioretty.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll go Pacioretty too.
Yeah. Jack Hughes is a guarantee for the team, but I don't know. Will he be a starter? That's the question.
And the other guys that I left off there, some of them are. I mean, Blake.
I guess
Wheeler's,
Jack Hughes might start over Beniers just based on his NHL experience, but Beniers I would carry as an extra.
Yeah, but then look at these. Look at like Blake Wheeler, no Blake Wheeler, no Anders,
Blake Wheeler,
no Anders Lee,
no Anders Lee,
no TJ Oshie, no Brian Rush.
TJ Oshie.
I mean, those are all.
Well, I shouldn't say no Oshie. He could be another guy they carry.
I mean, just for the stupid thing, I mean, because it matters. It mattered before. It can matter again. I mean, to me, like, Canada's of Huberdeau, McDavid, and McKinnon.
Yeah, I mean, their top two lines will be insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think Huberdeau has worked his way up towards that spot, so it's going to be interesting.
I don't know if he'll be a second liner. That's tough.
Yeah,
on that team.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean,
of course, Sid's going to be on the team.
Of course, Sid's going to be on the team. Yeah, so I mean, when it all plays out, obviously,
do you make him a third liner just because he can do it?
Like, no, I think he's still your first liner. I think just. I mean, really doesn't matter. I mean, what you call these lines. I mean,
I don't think honestly. I would put McKinnon over him. I would make Sid at least the second liner
over McDavid.
Oh, McDavid too. Yeah, McDavid will be the top liner.
I mean, McDavid. It's like
McDavid will be the top liner. So I would put Crosby as the third line. I would.
That's interesting. I would put McDavid and McKinnon together. Is what I would
honestly, Crosby's going to be the guy that you're going to call in there for faceoffs because the other two are not as good as Crosby on faceoffs.
That's true. I remember in the World Cup of hockey, just the way McDavid and McKinnon looked together was insane. Like
I don't think they're going to do that though. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, in all likelihood, I agree with you.
I mean, we're doing this on the fly. I have nothing.
We're doing it on the fly, and we'll definitely do research on it. But I kind of like doing
now. That's a good one. I guess Bergeron, if you bring him, he could be your face-off shark. So he could be the fourth line center.
Well, do you think that Canada, and I do think they could do this because this is a Canadian thing to do, to have their first line be Marchand, Crosby, and Bergeron? Like that's to stay with that group because that's just what they've done, you know?
They could.
I mean, and you know, to me, then your second line, you know, I had McKinnon there, but you could also have McDavid, Huberdeau, and Stone. You know, like that's another one that really.
Stone's a good one. I think he'll make it.
He'll make it for sure. Then McKinnon, O'Reilly, and Marner. Like that's another one that I put together.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you though. I'm going to flat out tell you that while I like Mike Sullivan, the U.S. blew it here. They didn't get the right coach.
Yeah.
They should have gotten John Cooper. And if they'd have treated him right, I know Kevin doesn't want to rock the boat with that stuff because he talks to a lot more people than I do. But if you listen to that interview that he did, Cooper was not happy that he wasn't with the U.S. the last time. And because of that, that's why he didn't go with them now. Right.
I think that's right. Now here's your big debate point on the Canadian.
You have to put Marner on the team.
You got to put Marner on the team. Yeah, there's no question.
Just because of what he could be.
The big debate point here: Braden Point or Sean Couturier.
If Bergeron makes it, Couturier doesn't make it. If Couturier makes it, and that's only because Bergeron's not there, because then that's your sort of defensive center.
Yeah, but Bergeron doesn't play a defensive role in the Olympics. He plays with Marchand and Crosby, so he doesn't play.
It doesn't mean he's still going.
Right now, if they're going to move him off that line, then maybe.
Yeah, I think they're going to move him off, and so I feel like Couturier does not make it unless they're looking for a defensive center, because that's the role they're gonna thrust him back in that role that Laviolette did because he's so good at it. But if Bergeron's there, you don't have a need for Couturier.
That's true.
And it's no slight at Couturier. I mean, look who we're talking about.
I mean, is Adam Pelech is he on this team? A lot of people think he is. I think
he could be.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, their defense: Theodore, Pietrangelo, Makar, Hamilton, Shabbat.
So what if
Owen
like Power is lighting it up in Michigan? Does Owen Power get picked as like a 7?
Right.
He might.
Right. I mean, you've got Morgan Riley, you've got Spurgeon, you've got Polak. Also you have Doughty, like you said.
Because I kind of wonder, could Owen Power kind of pull a Brian Leach?
Right. Could he be that guy?
Could he be that guy?
Do you think they bring Doughty for sure?
Yes, Doughty's in.
Because is he a top 8
guy? Doughty could play any role you want him to play.
Is he like your 7-8 guy that you bring in, or is he on your team?
He's better than that. He's on your team. He could play any role you ask him to.
Yeah, but I mean, who's gonna? I mean, Jacob Chikrin has a shot. I mean,
I think Chikrin has a very good shot, actually.
Does Darnell Nurse?
He has a shot. I mean, they do have. The problem is, we're now going to start talking about a lot of guys that are similar.
Yeah, they're very similar.
And
So
they're
you want
gonna
to find
start
guys who are unique. So you give yourself more coaching options.
correct.
Really.
Like remember how like a guy like Yarmelson would be on his team because he was
Right.
different from all the others.
Right, exactly.
You need. I'm trying to think who is that different guy.
I
in
think that
Canada?
might be Spurgeon in some ways. Like he's like, to me, and Pelak, Adam Pelak isn't. He's also kind
Pellet
of,
could be that guy.
you know. I mean, because like to me, Riley, Hamilton, Shabbat, Theodore, they're very similar. I mean, obviously Makar and
Yeah,
Pietrangelo.
I get it. Like Jerkball saying like Nurse scored 20 goals, but Shabbat can score 20 goals. Like it's just
Shabbat. He's there.
Now
too.
Nurse does have some toughness. I grant you that.
Yeah.
But Shabbat's a better power play guy.
Jacob Chikrin is different. Chikrin is different.
Chikrin's a little different. He could be the guy. I mean, but if Chikrin makes it, then I don't think Pellet makes it.
Yeah, right. No, I think he can because I think that. I mean, and then it's hard to put Doughty in the top 6 though because you're knocking out Hamilton.
Well, and you haven't even mentioned Cale Makar. He's a guarantee.
No, I mean he's a guarantee. No, I have mentioned him. He's to me. To me, Makar, Theodore, and Pietrangelo are the top 3. No questions asked. Right?
Yeah.
Those are your top 3. After that, you've got Shabbat, who I think is definitely on there. So that's to me, he's easily on there. So that's 4. So then after that, you got Hamilton.
Funky said something funny here. Remember when Canada picked Eric Brewer because Kevin Lowe was part of it? Yes, I do remember.
Oh, right, sure, yeah, definitely. Well, remember Bobby Clark used to pick some guys too that were kind of crazy.
That was brutal.
Remember, what's
no offense to Eric Brewer, he was a good defenseman, but he just wasn't on that hill.
Or Simone Gagne making it, right?
Yeah, Crosby's the captain. You're not taking the captain away.
It's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close. No, he's
when he's gone, then they'll give it to McDavid, but not until then.
Yeah, they might give it to McKinnon. I mean, that's
no, they won't.
I don't know. I think who's better to
if
me.
They give it to McKinnon, then McDavid's pissed.
McKinnon has shown more leadership though to this point.
Yeah, I get it, but you know what? This is honestly captain on an Olympic team isn't that impactful.
No, it's not
like
that
an NHL
it is more of just but it is a big ego thing though.
It's it's a selling point, an ego thing. I think right now to keep the peace, it's Crosby, and then you worry about it later.
Yeah. I mean, who's your captain on your U.S. team? Patrick Kane. I mean, it's like,
no, Kane's never been that guy. I can't.
He's never been that guy, but
I would make McDonough the captain.
Yeah, it's true. If he's on, if he makes, that's a question.
He's captain material for that kind of.
Oh, we forgot about Adam Fox for the U.S. team. Like that's
another
Adam
one. Fox will make it. Good call.
That's a tough one though. Like so. I mean, Jones, Werenski, Slavin, McAvoy, McDonough, Fox. But that now you don't. And
so now McDonough, not McDonough. Fox could possibly knock out either
Carlson
Slavin.
Or Hughes.
He could knock out either Slavin or McAvoy.
Okay, or how about Carlson and Hughes? I mean, it's like, Quinn Hughes is. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna get into this. We're getting into this more. I'm gonna mute you for a second, Russ. All right, so we're reading messages. Anyway, so it's just me now. Okay.
I'm back.
Okay, no problem. So this is gonna be fun to go through this. Obviously, we're gonna get into more depth on this in the future, but I think that I think the best. I'm gonna say it's gonna sound crazy, but
just because Austin Matthews got the cover he's not gonna be the captain.
No,
the cover of NHL doesn't make you the captain. He
doesn't even feel like a captain.
No,
he reminds me so much of Lindros for that. Like in that way, like he is like he is definitely your best player. He's a great locker room guy.
Player.
He's a locker room guy for sure.
But that's why I say the same thing with Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane's never been a captain.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like a captain. Like Lindros should never have been made captain, but ego-wise, they had to do it.
So you're going to put Jonathan Taves on the American squad just because? On the Canadian squad, rather, just because?
No.
You're not putting Taves on there?
I would not put Taves on there. No way.
They might. It's
they
the
might.
Olympics. They might.
They might, but I mean, they've got so many players. I mean, you go Marchand, Crosby, Bergeron, Huberdeau, McDavid, Stone.
That was not Eric Brewer on the phone. I just want to tell fun.
Okay. So listen to this: Marchand, Crosby, Bergeron. If you're going to go with that line, you're going to go with that line, and I think they will, because there's no
second
reason.
Line. I'm making that the second line.
It can be the second line, but it's really 1-1A. McDavid, Stone, Huberdeau. Maybe that's your second line or first line. McKinnon, O'Reilly, Marner. And then, so that's your
No,
third
so
line.
you know what? Huberdeau, they're going to put Marner on the top line. They're going to take out Huberdeau. That's what they're
You think so?
do.
Okay. I see. I think they need them. They need more grit, which Huberdeau.
Well, they have the grit and Stone. That's why Stone's there.
That's true. That's true. All right. So, but anyway, there's your top 9. So then after that, you still have Braden Point, you still have Mark Scheifele, you still have Sean Couturier, you still have Matt Barzal, and you still have John Tavares.
Yeah, Tavares could play any line. So
not
really
to mention
matter.
some young guys coming up like Horvat, Gord. Well, not Horvat's not so young, but Yanni Gord and Nick Suzuki are 2 guys that are going to be factors at some point.
Suzuki could be a factor right now.
I know.
If he has a good season, Suzuki could knock off. Like, that's when you say, all right, are we bringing Suzuki or Jonathan Taves? And they probably bring Suzuki then.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, Taves would have to have like an unbelievable.
He would have to have an unbelievable year. But again, we've seen that kind of thing happen where, like, remember Chris Drury got picked by Brian Burke because he's Chris Drury.
Yeah,
he had no defense. He's like, it's Chris Drury. He's going to be on the team. Now, Anthony said, hey, he'd be okay with Seth Jones being the captain of the USA team. It's hard to give Seth Jones the captaincy if you have McDonough there.
No, if McDonough's one of your top 6, McDonough gets it, I think. The question is, if he's going to be your 6, 7, 8, that's when it becomes a little bit dicey. But they don't have your prototypical captain. Like, Blake Wheeler would be, but he might not be on the team. Matthews, no, Eichel, no, maybe Dylan Larkin even, honestly, Larkin's probably the most captain-like player you've got.
I don't think they would give it to him, though.
He's young, but he is definitely a captain.
He's sort of captain material, but I think he hasn't proved it enough to get it yet.
Yeah. I would love to see Gaudreau, Larkin, and DeBrincat. I think that line would be just spectacular.
That would be a fun line, actually.
That's a fast line. And I think Gaudreau, man, it would just be like, can you imagine Gaudreau and DeBrincat? They're very similar players, but just like the reality is that they are a little bit small. Like, they have some small players on this team, which is why you might want to bring both Tkachuks, honestly.
I don't think Matthew makes it.
You don't think Matthew makes it?
Nope. I think I would take.
I have Matthew on my top line.
I know. I don't. This is me. I think Brady is a better player, and I think it'll prove out this year. I think Matthew's sort of trending down a bit. Now, he does. I think Brady can do everything Matthew does. And more.
I agree with that.
Problem.
I agree with that. Mike's back. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
We're just attention. Yeah, we're still here. We were just going through some other fun. Yeah, we were just kind of riffing on some stuff.
Joe Pavelski is not making it unless he scores 20 goals in the first half of the year.
We're going to get to the other players. We'll actually do shows.
Let's save some content.
No, we're just
we're all over the place.
These aren't our decisions. We are going to get out of here right now.
But let me just say this, because I was listening. And Darnell Nurse is a definite for Team Canada because they have very few left-hand shot defensemen. They're really strong on the right side. That's why Nurse and Morgan Riley are pretty much locks.
Really?
I don't know if Morgan Riley's a lock.
I don't think so either.
I'm telling you, he's a lock.
He's got to knock off. You're going to have Morgan Riley, or you're going to have McAvoy. I think McAvoy gets it over him every time.
Well, McAvoy, I'm saying he'll be. I thought McAvoy's American, so he's not.
He's
American. I'm sorry. No, okay, so Morgan Riley's going to have to knock off.
He's not going to knock off Makar, but he's.
Shabbat? He's not going to knock off Shabbat. He's not going to knock off Doug Hamilton.
Yes,
I don't know.
Thomas Shabbat's way better than Morgan Riley.
They don't need a power play specialist.
He's not just a power play specialist. That's not all he does.
They do need. It's not all he does, but they do need at least a couple of guys that can do it. You can't have just one, and you have to have Makar and Shabbat in my eyes.
To me, Riley versus Adam Pelech, that's a tough one too. Like, I think.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for.
Pelech is in your Mark Edward Vlasic, Dan Hamhuis type of.
Yeah.
Are they gonna? But hockey is different now. We're talking about it being.
Yeah, they still might bring one of those guys though.
All right, we'll continue this conversation.
He's mobile.
This is going to be a good one. We're going to continue this conversation. And
remember, Mike said Brian Taylor was a lock for the Yankees once. So anyway.
Right, there you go.
No, I didn't.
All right. Someone asked, do you have Joe Yerdon in your trunk? Nope, I don't think so.
I don't know. We're not going to say.
or maybe Garth. We'll see. Anyway, remember, folks, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We will talk to you again tomorrow. Enjoy your day.